team. This was a remarkable fight. Bernardo, I'm going to tell you that right now. I want to see them run it back. I told you, we needed a rival. I think we got one right here.
My goodness, you see the heart that Natasha Jonas showed, and there is a moment of sportsmanship between these two outstanding women.
What a
who
fight.
not only talk the talk, Tim, tonight they walk the walk. They went out there and proved what it means to be a champion. And there are no losers tonight.
No losers. No losers. The fans won. The fans won.
And this is how it went down, Tim.
Look, that back end, that last round was phenomenal. You know, you saw Natasha Jonas coming out, you know, good technical fighter, great. She was counterpunching. She was catching Michaela on the way in. She was digging down to the body, but man, little by little, that close, did you see that close?
Oh, my goodness.
From Michaela?
We
One
talked
of the
about
best closes that I've seen in a long time.
We talked about, for women, round 9 and 10 being the championship rounds. Will there be a new or a still?
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 full championship rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for the official decision. Judge Frank Lombard sees it 96-94 Jonas. Judge Diana Cruz-Milani sees it 97-93 Mayer. And Judge Michael Alexander sees it 96-95, declaring your winner by split decision. And still, the IBF Welterweight Champion,
That is the danger of going to your opponent's hometown. Look, it was a heck of a fight. I'm not taking away anything from Natasha Jonas. It was a close fight. I had it 96-94 for Mayer, but I could see 96-95 for Natasha Jonas as well. I would love to see this fight all over again.
Do it again.
12 rounds though, Tim, because you mentioned it. They need three 10-minute rounds because, or 10 3-minute rounds because these women have the skill, they have the level to put it on the line for that amount of time. And I know the disappointment Michaela Mayer is feeling, but she should not feel ashamed at all.
Shouldn't feel ashamed at all. It was a great performance. She came up short once again. Traveling overseas, that's what it comes with. You go into somebody else's backyard. You know, home field advantage. Close fights like this, usually going to go to the home field advantage. You know, so, but what hell of a fight, man. Run it back. You know, I hope she has a rematch clause.
Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormybman for this Saturday, January 20th, 2024. This is the post-fight show for Jonas versus Meyer, the Ibf Welterweight title that was just wrapped up on ESPN, live from Liverpool, Great Britain. And the fight is done now. It's in the record books. But let me tell you something, people. This fight, my goodness, God bless. I talked about these two women coming together. I talked about them last night on my Friday night chop session. I talked about them in my pre-fight video breakdown. I talked about them when they launched the press conference for these people to come together and do what they do. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you put the best against the best. You get this type of result, meaning the efforts that they put out. Judges to the side for a moment. Let me commend these two women for coming together and providing boxing a serious shot in the arm for what is expected as opposed to what's normally delivered in a professional boxing match. These two women are former Olympians and they are world titleists, with Meyer being a former titleist at a lower weight. However, their efforts of what they gave this evening, my goodness. I was sitting here on the edge of my seat, taking in the action. These were warriors. Not bad looking women either, but they brought something that the era of Christy Martin, the era of Layla Ali, and Wolf would be proud of, because they never had the opponents that could give them this type of effort to challenge and bring the best out of one another, as these two did with one another on this night. I am impressed to the rafters on what they were able to do tonight. Seriously. Judges aside, judges, I kind of expected, if there were no knockdowns or serious beatdown rounds for Mikaela Mayer, no matter how well she performed, she was going to run into an issue because she was fighting literally in the backyard of Natasha Jonas. Liverpool is where she's from. That's where the fight was held, in Liverpool. And it was going to take more than even what she brought in order for it to be a decision for her. But she still gave about as great as you could give, being any fighter in the world. I am sorry that the judges can't get... Listen, I would say this about the scoring for the fight. If you can only judge according to who's from, where you're from, and waving the flag and things, you don't need to be a judge. You need to have an indiscriminate eye toward where someone comes from and be able to judge what's happening. And I could clearly see that these judges were not judging this fight on what was happening. One judge had it properly for Michaela Mayer, whom I feel won this fight hands down. I had Michaela winning basically 7-3 easily. Jonas gave great effort, but she was fighting from behind, even though she was the champion. And see, that's the key point to understand and recognize what you're looking at when you're watching boxing. The fighter who's fighting second, who's got to come back, who's got to respond, you're behind. You're second. Michaela pressed the action. She drove her backwards into the ropes. Once she started digging to the body, it became a different thing. Natasha was fighting to keep from being knocked out. Michaela was not. Michaela was never put back on her back foot. She was never driven back. She was fought back in spurts, in spots of the match. But never did she stop coming. And eventually you could see the wear on Jonas, on her face and her body. Even in the last round, the last few rounds, Jonas was tying her up to stop the action. One thing about 2-minute rounds, if you tie someone up about 4 times in a 2-minute round, you've killed half the round. Seriously. There's a reason that Jonas didn't want 3-minute rounds for this fight, or 12. There's a reason that Ben Shalom, a guy you may learn to dislike even more than Ed Hearn if it's possible. Keep your eye out for this guy, because it's all about God and country for this guy. Yeah. They're not true, people. They're not true. All I have to say is one thing. If you're such a badass, take the show on the road. Huh? Michaela came on the road and she fought. She showed that she learned from the Alicia Baumgardner fight, where I spoke about, when that fight was live, that neither lady in the championship rounds, which was basically 8 through 10 for them, being 10 round fights, neither she or Alicia provided any separation between all the work that they had accomplished up to that point, and that had either one definitively pressed the gas or issue, it would have been easier to get a clean decision. I thought that Mayer won that fight. I'm not angry that Alicia won, but I'm a little more involved in how I score fights. In this fight, Mayer stepped it up. She pressed the gas. She showed that she wanted this title, and she fought well enough to win the title. But someone had other issues, and it was all about being in support of their country person. That's unfair. We've seen it in the Olympics, and we've seen it now, like tonight, in professional boxing. What about the person who works their ass off? It shouldn't be that because you put forth your best effort that it's just disregarded because we got a homeboy or a homegirl here. What is that? It's as if you can't bank on anything outside of knocking someone out. Now, was it close? Yes. But did the right decision come down? Absolutely not. And I'll tell you something. From what I've seen of her, this was the best Natasha Jonas ever looked in her career. That is a compliment. That is not an insult. But she was made to fight tonight. She was not given anything outside of what the judges gave her. But she gave an effort that I didn't even realize that she can fight for. I marked down rounds 5 through 7 as 3 of the best rounds in women's boxing history. These women were literally standing toe-to-toe like Evander Holyfield did against George Foreman in their fight, in the 7th round of their fight. Mayer stood in there digging those short shots, hooks to the body, hooks to the head. Jonas stood in there, uppercuts, lefts and rights. She was fighting back. It was ebb and flow. It was teeter-tot, hell-bent action between 2 top-notch fighters in women's boxing. It was exciting, people. It was stellar action. If you didn't catch this fight, you missed out on something great for the sport and for women's boxing. Amazing. Let me go to my chat and see who we got in the building. Smash the like button. Shower Liar's in the building. Appreciate you stopping through, Shower. Yahweh, No Smoke is in the building. Jeff, the producer, what's happening? Antonio MMA, what's happening with you? Universal Truth. Tanaya Marie is out there saying Maya just got robbed. Yeah, Stephen L is in the building saying, wow, I had Michaela beating up on Jonas 7 rounds to 3. Tanaya says, Jonas is tough. Gets hit too much for me. The GOAT makes easy work of her. Listen, Michaela fought a hell of a fight tonight, y'all. A hell of a fight. Jimmy Bernard is out there saying, salute, Sensei. What's good, chat? Shauna TV is out there saying, aye. What's good with you, Shauna? PGH Big Dog back with us saying, salute, Sensei. What's happening, man? Kevin Jean says, the American judge gave it to Jonas. I thought a draw myself. That fight was not a draw, brother. That fight was not a draw. It was not a draw. Sir Ken in the building saying, Stormy B man, salute. Salute to the wrenches and salute to the chats. Smash the like button. Kevin Jones says, coming forward, but missing shots doesn't always win fights, Stormy. Wow. You know, Kevin Jeans, I haven't seen you in my chat before, but you must don't know who I am, brother. And you can keep on talking like that. We'll see what happens. RB26 says, good evening from the UK. Good evening to you. He says, home cooking for Natasha. 1. Absolutely. Hen Dog, the fearless one, says, salute Stormy. Jonas don't want that rematch. Maya won this one. Yep. RB26 says, she's one of only 2 world champions that Sky Sports have signed to Yeah. Sylvestrial's out there saying, Stormy B, man, what's going on? What's good with you? Sylvester thinks that Michaela is a hype job. Mr. Shelton is in the building. What's happening with you, Mr. Shelton? He says, driving and listening. T-Berry is out there saying, peace, Stormy and chat. I got to run that back with the volume off. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the best way. Hendog says, Michaela is not a hype job. No, she's not. She's not. I appreciate someone else being able to step up and say something with sensibility. The Messenger 215 saying salute to the channel. Isaiah GQ back saying salute Stormy. And Antonio saying no reason to waste time on him, Sensei. He did not hear what you just said prior to acknowledging the chat. We don't have playground rules here. Absolutely, Antonio. You know what's good. You know what's good. But listen, man, let me say this. For those who do watch the content, for those who do follow the channel, and salute to my brother Steph Brown, who has spoken up on another channel in another chat about watching the contents exclusively this week. I appreciate you, Steph Brown, for your kind words. I talked about this fight before it happened. I did. I recognized how important this fight was. I did. I put videos out, featured these two women for the fighters that they are. I did. I reminded anyone who would have listened and tuned in last night on my Friday night chop session, before I began to cook on His Excellency Turkish Alal Sheikh. Yeah, I've done my part. They did their part. The judges did not do theirs. And that's what's wrong with the sport of boxing. With no commission to oversee things, for no people to be held accountable for their actions. Remember, this is a sport where we saw Dimitri Bivol win a decision over Canelo Alvarez, but when you looked at the scorecards, Canelo was given the first 4 to 5 rounds of the fight, when Bivol clearly won several of those opening rounds, and no one was held accountable for it. So what does a fighter have to do? We're talking about people who go into training for months at a time, away from their families, away from their normal lives, to discipline themselves to come out for one night and give an effort to show their elite status in the sport. In doing that, the least that should be done is a compensation for the effort. I'm not talking about the purses. Those are coming anyway. But to get the decisions when it's time to judge. You're not gonna knock everyone out. And everyone is not gonna battle like these two did this evening. But there should be discernment, objectivity, to be able to look at what you're seeing and understand who's taking the lead and who is not. Half of these judges, if you made them sit down and explain why they scored a round, they could not give that to you. half of them fill their scorecards out before the fight is done. Because half of them are on the take. And this is not a rant against Natasha Jonas. This is not waving a flag of support for Michaela Mayer. This is a man standing on the principle of what the sport needs because the fighters are getting shafted. Male and female. It has to be said, people, but it has to be said with intelligence and from a place of understanding, knowledge. Because you can be in your feelings, but that's just it. Your feelings are your feelings. How many times have I talked about the inappropriateness of medical care for the fighters? For fighters who've gotten stopped or gotten cut really bad. These officials like referees intervening unnecessarily, and then at other times they are absent. And you're like, what the hell are you doing, ref? Get in there. I talk about this all the time because I'm doing post fights damn near every weekend that there's a fight. How many people are in support of Stormybman saying these things? You'll come around and watch because the viewership goes up into the hundreds of the post-fight shows. And some of you guys are content creators, but you won't talk about these very things. Some of you get access to some of these fighters, promoters, So you don't want to jeopardize your relationships, You can't keep it real enough to do that. But here Stormy is all the time doing it. This was a classic battle. One of the best women's fights at the championship level that I've seen. Some of you may have enjoyed Shields versus Marshall. This was far better than that. Far better. If you enjoyed Taylor versus Cameron, this was better, far better. Worthy of a rematch, but also worthy of receiving a proper decision from the first go-round. That's what makes it hard for boxing. David Andrews says, not sure I agree with that decision, and I am from the UK. Isaiah GQ is offering Mayer won that. RB26 says, if that fight was anywhere else in the world, Mayer would have got the nod. Sylvestria says, to be honest, I didn't watch the fight, just listened to commentary on Knockout Boxing YouTube channel. Well, Sylvester, you should watch the fight yourself instead of coming in and just chiming in and saying things. Because it's always good to watch for yourself. David Andrews says, quality against quantity, I guess, but Mayer's pressure and volume should have been the difference. Mayer was very effective with right hand leads, body punches, short punches on the inside. There were moments of exchanges of activity where Jonas was forced to fight back because of the aggression that was mounting from Mayer. And when she fought back, she had to take moments of clenching to cease the action because it was hot. This is what I mean when I say you have to understand of what you're looking at when the action ensues. There were no forced clinches by Michaela Mayer. Sylvester is asking, sounded like Tasha wasn't very impressive with her performance. Where did I say that, Sylvester? You see, it's obvious that you tune in, but you don't be listening even when you tune in. Chat. My brother, Antonio MMA. My sister and queen, Shawalaya. Please tell Sylvester what I've been saying about the two women this evening before he popped in talking goofy. Did I not dedicate my opening dialogue to the efforts of both women, judges aside? Did I not do that? Antonio, you don't have to hide him. Sylvester is still family, even though he be goofy sometimes. So please unhide him. Unhide him. I'm just saying he was talking goofy because that's what happens when you don't tune in from the beginning. Because Stormy gives an opening dialogue by the action that transpired. I'm very consistent with that. Very consistent. It's okay, Antonio, but I'm saying it's okay to bring him back because Sylvester is family, even though he's not rinsed up yet. But that's another reason why he ain't rinsed up yet, because, you know, you have to watch some of the brothers out here, huh? Because everybody, you know, ain't on the level, huh? Yeah. And Stormy keep it real with that too, don't he? Yeah. Huh? But did I not opening say these things? Shower says, yeah, this is the only place I heard this was Mayer's first fight against a southpaw. Absolutely. Absolutely, Shower. I've said these things. I talk about boxing. People talk about other people. Even me, they talk about. But what do I be talking about? And if they weren't so busy talking about other people and start talking boxing, maybe other people who tune in to listen to the fair could learn. Over 100 views to this show this evening. Only 26 likes, but over 75 something people, right? Checking Stormy out. but won't even hit my like button. But they here though. What you here for? Go them other places. Be like Sylvestial. Just listen and don't view for yourself, huh? Pour sand in your eyelids, huh? And fill your ears up with water, huh? Yeah. May as well do that. May as well. See, when I say these things, I say them from a point of being detailed. From being detailed. That's all. Antonio says, he literally said, this is the best performance Jonas has had. Yeah. Literally said that. Universal Truth is backing it up, saying he said this was the best she looked. T-Berry says, Stormy B, man, I feel I'm still learning. I don't think I always know what, at generally speaking, not just on this fight. Yeah. Antonio says, my brother, I'm on it. Okay, I read that one already. Shower says, you've been saying they both fought a good fight. Worthy of fight of the year. Thus far, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the best women's fights of all time that I have seen. I haven't seen all of them, so I wouldn't even claim to have done so. But the efforts of these two women on this night, amazing. I already said it was better than Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields, better than Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron, which was a hell of a fight, especially the first fight. King Vonnie is in the building. What's good with you? Shower says, I was actually surprised you didn't come out and say Mayor won hands down. It was a close enough fight, but I don't think that Jonas won the fight. I do believe that Michaela won the fight. But again, it's done. It's like when you look at it like this, they're fighting in that woman's hometown and city. What do you think was going to happen if she didn't get knocked out? Shower says Jonas was getting that body tore back. That's why all the clinching. And she was faltering. If this had been 3-minute rounds, you might have seen a stoppage by Mayer. Seriously, that's how the action was going. And thank you, Shower, for being on the job. See, sometimes people are jaded by the corruption of boxing. You don't even come to expect or to decipher the good from the bad anymore. And that's unfortunate, because there's still good boxing, and everything is not a robbery because it didn't go a certain way. But though some people will feel and say Michaela was robbed, look at the climate. They were in that woman's country and hometown city, and Michaela didn't stop her. But should you have to stop the person in order to get the victory? There used to be an old adage in boxing that you got to knock the champ out to win. Unfortunately, that was not a fact, but a lot of fights were scored that way. It hasn't stopped to this day. But my argument is for the fighters who put in the type of effort like you saw this evening and get rewarded appropriately. That's what I stand on, because that's important. Imagine giving Mayer the decision properly, right? They have a rematch clause. That is going to send the rematch sales through the roof, because people are like, man, Natasha just almost had it, but maybe she'll get her in the rematch, and they're all on board. But since she got the decision in this fight that she really, to my eyes, didn't earn the decision, the rematch doesn't have that same kind of sell to it. It doesn't. That 7th round was such a great round. Infighting by both fighters, digging deep to the body, digging to the head, following up with uppercuts and everything. It was amazing. Shawa says, I think she was trying to stop her. She definitely did enough to beat the champion. Absolutely. And she showed that she learned from the Baumgardner fight and decision that you do have to finish up strong, which is exactly what she did. She should have been awarded for her efforts. Not being dismissed because you're in our country. You're talking about the same people that last weekend talked about Callum Smith knocking out Artur Beterbiev and having a great chance because he's strong at light heavyweight and he knocked out his past 2 opponents and everything, and you know he's ready for this, he's taller, he's bigger than Artur, and blah 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 blah. And that fight was held in Artur's place of Quebec, Canada, which is his home place right now. He's originally from Russia, but he lives and resides in Canada. But as they talked about Callum in that fight, they never acknowledged that piss poor effort that he had against Canelo, where Canelo just beat him like a heavy bag for 12 rounds. They never acknowledged that. And Canelo is not Artur Beterbiev. And if he showed up like that against Canelo, what in the world was he gonna do to Artur when he got in there? Get stopped like he did. And half of those people over there from the UK expressed sentiments of being shocked and appalled that it happened. So I'm sorry, but not sorry that some of them, not all, don't view boxing properly, man. They're drunk with the sport. They sing and they drink their lagers and everything. It's like they're at a concert. But someone's getting their ass whooped in the ring. It's not a freaking party. And if you listen to the passion that comes from me, I definitely don't look at boxing as a party. Never have. I'm always talking up the fighters, what they go through to get out there to show up and show for you on the night of. I'm always talking about that. And when performances are not up to par, I say it. When efforts are not up to par, I say it. But when they are, boy, do I say it, as I've done this evening. This evening. So, Natasha Jonas retains her title tonight. But Michaela Mayer showed the world that she has arrived and she is a force of nature to be dealt with in the women's division of boxing. And she has earned her place and spot on the pound for pound list. Antonio, he says Canelo exposes the character of men. They get in there and they lay down. However, Arthur beat the fight out of him, talking about Callum, and I don't think Callum will be the same. However, he can learn from these women. Wow. I can't disagree with you there, brother. I can't disagree. Yeah. See, when fighters step up to match up against other top quality elite level fighters, only a couple of things usually happen. Either they meet the challenge or they falter from the challenge. There's no in between. And meeting the challenge doesn't always mean being victorious, but to compete on a level that others may have thought you were incapable of, or you've risen to a challenge that no one envisioned you rising to. Or not. And there's something to be said about that and understanding the difference. Antonio says, seriously, Sensei, Charlo, Billy Joe, Callum, Caleb Plant, and might as well throw Mel in there too. Exactly. Since Canelo is fighting him on Cinco de Mayo. Listen, man. Canelo has made a career off of this. Understandably, none of those guys are the men that he should be fighting. None of them are the men that he should be fighting. He should have been fighting Andrade. He should have been fighting Benavidez. He should have been fighting Morrell. He should have been fighting Mbili. I mean, come on. Where do we stop the list? Word has it that, yeah, I understand what you mean, Antonio. Word has it that he has Munguia in his sights now. And that'll be contingent upon how Munguia performs against Canelo's twin brother, John Ryder, next weekend. We will see. And for what it's worth, Munguia is not a 168-pounder. But Christian Mbili is. David Morrell is. David Benavidez is. Crazy. But see, without a true commission for the sport, a board of directors and people who can make sound decisions and hold people accountable, sanctioning bodies accountable, hey, all of this is a part of that. Berry, it doesn't matter who he fights. He's not fighting who he should fight. That's the true message in all of this. That's the true message in all of this. But these are my thoughts. You know, other people may feel a different way, but I've shared what I had to say about it. Now we can take a word from my man, the Focus Ball.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Buddy, that Stormybman merchandise, you need to get something before it's not available anymore. I'm telling you, that stuff is moving like hot cakes, man. Hot cakes. But yeah, what a great fight performed by Natasha Jonas and Michaela Mayer on this evening, man. It lived up every bit as of what I had hoped it would, and I'm just proud to have been one of the few to come out and talk about it, man. You know, I do what I do regardless of the weather, you know, and this is one that I'm glad, most proud, like a papa, that hey, I put that out there about these ladies, and I will be consistent as I can with that, because I want you guys to know that this channel is about talking the sport, man. That's what it's about. It's not about talking about people. So my efforts will not be in vain, you know. They will not. Salute to the brother Universal Truth out there with that super chat donation. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. He says, great show as always. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's still early enough in the evening for some of you to enjoy yourselves. You know what I mean? And just know that next week we have more fights on the horizon, so we will be back next week for another post-fight. But between now and then, I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC, and we catch you guys on the next one. Peace to all of you.
What do you think of Negroes?
As good as any white man.